Hi, I'm Lisa Bedford, the Survival Mom, and believe it or not, this is finally part 3 of the 3 layers of food storage. It's a long story, the distance of time between part 2 and now part 3. It involves a lost camera charger, it involves a cross-country move, and then it involves a lost tripod. But here I am. What can I say? I wanted to make sure I covered this final layer, layer 3, because it really is a very important layer for a number of reasons. Not because the foods in layer 3 are more important than those in the first 2 layers that I discussed in my video, but because a lot of people can get ripped off pretty badly financially with purchases that fall into this level 3. So, to recap, level 1 that should be a part of your food storage are just regular grocery store foods. Depending on how you're eating, if you are trying to avoid processed foods, then maybe your first layer might have a little bit less of grocery store foods. But when I started off with canned ravioli and canned chili and boxes of pasta meals, macaroni and cheese, and believe me, those are way better than nothing. I mean, if you can think of a scenario in which the grocery stores in your area might be emptied of food for whatever reason. It could be an impending winter storm. It could be, some big riot that has prevented, delivery trucks from coming in. It really could be a lot of reasons. But the layer 2 foods are the easiest ones to stock up on, and they are very, very budget friendly. I think that probably is the cheapest layer. And it really should be a portion of what you stock up on, because those foods are not only inexpensive, but they're accessible, and most likely, especially if you have kids, they are the most maybe comforting or familiar to your kids in time of a crisis. Level 2 or layer 2, you can go back and watch these videos, but layer 2 was all about freeze-dried and dehydrated foods as individual components. So a number 10 can of freeze-dried corn, for instance, or a number 10 can or a number 2.5 can of barley. I mean, those are the ingredients that I believe should make up the bulk of your food storage. And if you go back to watch that video, it would be the 3 layers of food storage part 2. I go into more detail on that layer. Now, the 3rd layer is also a component, I think, and a somewhat important component of your whole food storage system. And level 3 foods are made up of those just add water meals. It could be a just add water Mountain House meal of chicken teriyaki or sweet and sour pork. It could be a just add water meal from Thrive Life Foods or Legacy Foods or Wise Foods. There's some brand with the word Patriot in it, and those are the just add water foods. Now, I'm going to tell you the positive side of these foods before I launch into a few of the negatives. If you can imagine a time where you and your family might have to get out of your house pretty quickly, or maybe there are floodwaters coming in, maybe there's an impending storm of the century or a hurricane, and you're thinking, you know what, better safe than sorry, kids, we're going to pack up, or you tell your other members of your household, we're going to pack up and we're going to get out of here. Well, loading up dozens of these freeze-dried meals, just add water meals, is so much easier than trying to load, buckets of wheat and cases of number 10 cans, filling up grocery bags with, your canned chili, your canned ravioli, your canned, tomatoes, your canned, whatever, from layer 1. Layer 3 is just so much easier. They're very lightweight. They can be pricey depending on the brand, but just they don't take up much space, and so you could easily fill, several days worth of food just in maybe a third or fourth of the trunk of your car. So that is the reason that I have some of these meals. I imagine out of all the food storage that I do have in my food storage pantry, these foods probably take up maybe 15%. For the last 2 or 3 years, I've really focused on just adding ingredients. So I cook and bake from scratch a lot. And so I would much rather have the ingredients for those from scratch recipes so I can make all kinds of different dishes for my family instead of being stuck with, turkey tetrazzini, one meal, and gosh, granola with blueberries another meal, et cetera, et cetera. So, but they have their place. They really do have their place. They're lightweight. But here is the downside to these. Very, very often, this survival food is what these big survival food companies sell, and that's all they sell. And so they will try to get you to sign on the dotted line. I've even heard of some salespeople who will tell people, oh, don't worry, there's going to be a crash of the economy, and go ahead and charge this. And I'm afraid some people have. They've charged thousands of dollars worth of this survival food. But there are some really, really important reasons for you to take a close look before you pull out that Visa or MasterCard. First of all, are you even going to like these meals? And that's a biggie. I have tried almost every variety of Mountain House foods, and they're quite good. They are not a purist's dream come true when it comes to healthy eating, but they are quite tasty. And Mountain House has worked very, very hard to package them so they have a very long shelf life and that their varieties actually do taste good. So I do recommend Mountain House brand if you are going to be looking for these freeze-dried meals. Legacy Foods are another company, and I was given 3 samples of their foods, about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. They all cooked up. They were really good. I would have gladly served, I think there were 1 or 2 varieties that I thought, heck, this is as good as my homemade. So of the food samples I've tried with Legacy, they've all been good. Thrive Life is one of my favorite companies. That's why I am a independent consultant with them, because I like their food and they have such a huge variety. However, oddly enough, I've tried some of their Just Add Water meals and I'm not crazy about any of them. So I think that it really is a matter of preference when, are you going to be liking this chicken and lime with rice, meal, or are you going to even like this version of spaghetti with meat sauce? A lot of it just comes down to personal preference. I will tell you, I have tried Wise Foods, and I would never, ever buy even a pouch of Wise Foods. I'm really good at doctoring things up. I can get a jar of, ragu spaghetti sauce, and I've had many, many people think that it was just homemade from scratch. By the time I'm done with it, working my magic. However, with Wise Foods, there was no magic. And there are other reasons why I cannot recommend that brand, even though they market it heavily. Probably of all the different brands of survival food, Just Add Water meals, I believe they must have a massive marketing budget, but that doesn't make the food taste good. So, couple of things then of these different brands. One is, are you going to like it, and are your loved ones going to be eating it? Please don't assume that they will. All right? If you can, try to get a sample pouch of one of these varieties. REI has a really nice variety of Mountain House foods as well as Alpine Air. They're actually manufactured by the same company. They're just put into different pouches with different names. Walmart carries a number of Mountain House varieties as well. So you might be surprised where you're going to find Mountain House foods in particular, just because they must be the oldest freeze-dried food, Just Add Water meal companies in the country. The second thing to think about, if you're thinking about survival, you want to make sure that what you're going to be consuming is nutritious, and that it is also, hold on a second, my light went off on me. There we go. Not much light in this new office of mine. You also want to make sure that you're going to be consuming enough calories. That's a biggie, and it's really hard to compare apples to apples when it comes to these meals, because one pouch is a set amount of ounces and it says it's this number of servings. Another pouch might just have 2 servings and it's this number of calories and these nutrients. So sometimes it's hard to compare one brand with the other. So you want to start out, first of all, does it even taste good? Should you even waste your time? Secondly, take a look at how many what the serving size is and how many calories are in that. Now, I recommend including in your food storage some oil, even if it is just vegetable shortening that you have packed into a canning jar, and then you have used your food saver to seal. You can do that. I have a video that demonstrates how to do that. I'm not crazy about vegetable shortening. I mean, I love my coconut oil and I love my healthy oils, but a really easy way to add calories and add fat to these Just Add Water meals is simply by adding, 2 or 3 or 4 tablespoons of a healthy oil, okay? And if you don't like the taste of coconut oil, you can buy a processed version when you don't feel like, you're out on a beach, coated with coconut oil and trying to get a suntan. So take a look at the calories and the nutrients. Those are really important. I mean, whenever any of us think of worst case scenarios, what comes to mind? What comes to mind is we may have to do without vehicles. We may be walking a lot more. We may be outside, clearing away debris. We may be outside, the chainsaw, clearing out, felled trees. And we're going to be using and working up a sweat, as well as using up a lot more energy than you might use right now just doing some housework or sitting at your computer, at your desk job. So when it comes to food storage, you just cannot scrimp when it comes to those calories. And so you want to really double check that, because what good does it do to get a big old number 10 can of something and then you're so famished and your kids are so famished that you go through a number 10 can in one sitting, and you were kind of planning that would last maybe 3 or 4 meals. So go generously and err on the side of too many calories, too many nutrients. That's just the smart thing to do. Now, all of this said, there is a valid reason for buying and storing these Just Add Water meals. I've told you some of the, the caveats, to look for, little warnings, and I've told you some of the brands that I like and one brand I really do not like. Finally, what you will also find are these meals all grouped together. Survival pack, food for 2 people for 3 months. Or, survival food, family of 4 for a year. And those are some pretty expensive packages, if you have noticed. So you want to really take a close look at what is included. And try to imagine every single day for a month. Every single day for 3 months, you're eating the same breakfasts, you're eating the same lunches, you're eating the same dinners. A lot of times they don't contain snacks. The same meal, day after day after day, week after week, before you put down big bucks on these huge prefab kits. You really want to make sure that your family's going to eat the meals that are in there, that you know how to prepare them. I mean, why buy something that has, food ingredients and you don't even know what they are? Oat groats, I love oat groats. My daughter loves oat groats. But, why buy those if you are, you're gluten intolerant, first of all. And secondly, you don't even know what they are or how to eat them. So you want to make an informed decision, all right? This isn't a time, whenever you're, if you're spending, $50 on some little, emergency thing, it's supposed to get you through, 72 hours. That's one thing, okay? But when you start looking at something that's costing hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, you have to stop the fear, you have to stop the panic, you have to stop the sales pitch, if that's what it takes, and sit back and look at every single thing that is included in that survival food kit and really make sure that is what you and your family need. I think you will do better by stocking up on individual ingredients, bringing together recipes that your family will eat, and having that be the bulk of your food storage pantry. Okay, this is Lisa Bedford, the Survival Mom. I promise I'll be back with a video a whole lot sooner than this one took. And I thank you for watching this. Catch you the next time around.